high-speed motor in a 40 Ford coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod at large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod. She's my hot rod.
928 Car Guys, if you want to give us a call. We're live on WAMS and WHFB, AM and FM. WIMS is out of Michigan City. WHFB is Benton Harbor, St. Joe. And they are AM and FM signals. This is 4 radio stations soon every morning. The Girard Media is really rocking. They're taking the Midwest by storm. It's kind of cool, ain't it? 928 Car Guys, if you want to ask me any questions. I've got answers. All you got to do is call me. I can fix anything you got. It's not a problem. Oh, you know what else? Bumper to Bumper. I just talked to Bumper to Bumper on the break. They got all kinds of cool stuff. All the Duplicolor spray paint. See, all the stuff you had problems with, the little scratches and da-da-da. They got all their Duplicolor paint on sale. The mother's waxes and cleaners. You get that winter off of your car. And for you guys out there that wrench for a living, Nitro mechanics gloves, black. 100 of them for only $11.99. That's cheap. For those gloves, that's cheap. And it keeps your hands nice. I wish I'd have done that when I was a wrench. My hands aren't very nice anymore. But, hey, we got some more recalls, and this is one you need to know about. Mazda, the CX-7 and CX-9 models, that's their crossover SUV, whatever you want to call it. From 2010 to 2013, they have side curtain airbags that deploy anytime you want, when they want, right? Not when you want, when they want. So you could be driving down the street and the side curtain airbags go off. Now, ain't that a slap in the head? You got it. I got to tell you. And Jeep Grand Cherokee and Ram 1500 diesel. These owners are eligible for over $3,000 in paybacks if they've had it done, but they've got to have all this done by January 2021. FCA Chrysler has a habit of dragging their feet when it comes to fixing things, the recalls. They learned that from Sergio Marchionne, who's no longer with them, thank God. He almost ruined them. But I got to tell you, he dragged his feet on everything. The time with the Jeeps that were catching fire from the gas tanks, and then, of course, the Takata airbags. Well, now, the 2014 to 2016 Grand Cherokees and Ram 1500 that have a 3.0 turbo diesel. That's the V6. That's the big V6 in the truck. They're all going to get new catalytic converters. Up to $3,000 in compensation if you already had it done, because it takes away from the price of the car. This turbo diesel is stinking up the air. They're in violation. They all got to be done by the January 2021. If it's not done by then NHTSA is going to go after FCA Chrysler. I got to tell you, it's something else. These guys, they gave the car makers this leeway. You tell us how you're testing and show us your results, and we'll take your word for it. So what they do? They lied. Oh yeah. Plus, some of them put the defeat devices in their diesels. Turns out Chrysler's going to be buying a bunch of catalytic converters too. Ha ha ha. Gotta love it. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS. We use a lot of acronyms around here because some of these names are long. It's pressuring automakers to do more to protect rear seat passengers from serious injury and death in serious crashes by using seatbelt technology already used in the front seat. It seems that they're not as exotic with their seatbelts in the back seat because it's just a passenger, as they are in the front seat because that's the person in control of the car. The seatbelt pretensioners. Pretensioner is the thing that lets you pull it out, but when you lunge forward, it won't let it go. So it stops you from going forward. It's supposed to keep your head out of the windshield. Supposed to. So is the airbag. Supposed to. That's if the airbag works. Seatbelt pretensioners in the front seat hold the occupant tight in their seat, as force limiters allow just a little of relaxing in the belt to keep it from injuring the person that it's actually saving. So it's pretty sophisticated how it works. Well, the IIHS is also calling for more overhead and side curtain airbags in the back seat of the car. People are getting hurt in the back seat. That's just the way it is, all right? Speaking of crashes, in San Francisco, the family of Walter Huang has sued Tesla Corporation in the matter of his death when his 2017 Model X's autopilot navigation system malfunctioned. Now, you know, they shut down that the Model X's autopilot. Musk quit. They stopped the autopilot procedure for such a long time. Wouldn't let it work on any of the cars. That people bought this car with autopilot thinking they had autopilot, and they didn't because they couldn't get the bugs out of it. I think this is before that happened. This case was filed 2 days after another California driver filed suit blaming his driverless Model S steering and brake systems for nearly killing him when the car slammed into a lane divider. All this while Elon is pushing his robo-taxi service in California. He's going to have a robo-taxi, self-driving taxi cabs in Florida or California. But he's killing people in their cars with his automatic stuff. Elon, you just got to stop it. You do. You got to stop it. The Chinese are coming. When I wrote this, I might have had a cigar. The Chinese are coming. The race in China by automakers to establish and sell their vehicles in the United States looks to have taken a new frontrunner. Zote is rushing forward to establish driver facilities across our country next year. The other large Chinese car builder, GAC, has stalled in its plans, allowing Zote to slide on by. Both companies had planned to be here by 2019. But dramatic changes in the U.S. tariff rules have caused them to rethink their policies. You're going to sell it here, boys. You're going to make it here, and you're going to be made by our workers, good old American labor. And we're going to make the money off of it. Meanwhile, in Missouri, Governor Mike Parson is in negotiations with General Motors discussing incentives for GM to invest $1 billion in its Wentzville assembly plant. The company just 2 years ago invested $40 million in that factory that currently employs some 3,800 rank and file UAW boys. What do you think about that, UAW? Hey, let's go get them. Now is the time. Now is the time to expand your rank and file. Now is the time to get things going and demand the things. Get that training that we need to have our American workers put our cars together so they're safe. They're the only ones that care, I guarantee you. My story a few weeks ago about Ford's plans to close its plant in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Well, it's putting 3,000 workers idle and has taken a twist for the better now. The company has reached an agreement with the rank and file in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and with the rank and file to transition them into other areas and make their employment part of any deal to sell the facility. A Brazilian company, Caoa, I don't know, which builds the Chinese model Chery and Korea's Hyundai in the country, is said to be in negotiations with Ford. They want to buy it and make those little cars in Brazil. Ford's learning their lesson. If you're going to sell it here, you're going to make it here. This is America, boys. Come back to America and go to work. That's all there is to it. You have ties here and you have people that love you here, and this is where you want to be. Mahindra. You thought the Chinese were coming? Here's the Indians. An Indian automaker, which currently has invested over $22 million in an old GM plant in Auburn Hills, Michigan, is going to build it's where they build their Roxor vehicle. The 150,000-foot factory is currently pumping out 30 Roxors off-road vehicles a day. That's not a whole lot, but this is, I don't know, maybe they brought their technology with them from India. I don't know. Now the auto builder is in the bidding to be the supplier, get this, of the next generation of U.S. postal vehicles. You know the little ugly vehicles run around the post office with the slanting front windows and that? Well, they're old, all right? They're in line to be a potential $6 billion contract with the U.S. government. Mahindra is going to get it, but they're going to have to build them here. So now they're looking at They're looking at 3 sites in Michigan, Detroit, Oakland County, and Genesee County to build 180,000 postal vehicles over 6 years. I don't know. What did they say? 30 racks for vehicles a day? That's going to be a lot of vehicles for them. 180,000. Our autonomous world. You got to learn how to say that because guess what? It's coming. I used to call them autonomous. It's autonomous. Means our self-driving world. All right, we'll call it that. Good news for all my two-wheel pedaling fans out there. Last week, Waymo, one of the leaders in autonomous technology, got it right that time, held a press conference to showcase its vehicle, or as they call it, shared road avoidance systems, which actually is one of the best at the staying away from cyclists. Waymo has a special cycling program to stay away from cyclists. So you guys riding your bike down the street, you know, the ones that make me mad when I get behind you, because you shouldn't be on the street, but that's all right. Speaking of Waymo, the company announced it will lease a shuttered American axle plant in Detroit and invest $13.6 million. There's a lot of shuttered plants in Detroit, trust me. There was, not no more. To install their autonomous vehicle technology supplied by vehicles supplied by FCA Chrysler and Jaguar. Ooh, self-driving Jaguar. Ouch. And they're going to supply their self-driving ride-hailing fleets. They have fleets of little cars that they, Chryslers, I think, is what they're using. Hey, again, Detroit scores. Detroit was down the tubes. Detroit was trash. I mean, the last time I was there for a hockey game or anything, it was just a bad place to visit. Nobody was working. The plants were all shut down. I mean, it was terrible. All the suppliers. Now, they're just, boom. Everything's coming back to life. Everything's back open. People are working. Kids are walking the streets. Detroit's coming back. I guarantee you. This economy is going to bring Detroit, if nothing else, it's going to bring Detroit up to where it belongs. Florida looks like the next state to legalize autonomy on its roads. Several states have already gone before them, and they're doing all right. Arizona, Colorado. Plus, they're going to have something different, though. They will not have a requirement for a human backup driver. All the other states do. Florida's the first one that is going to allow self-driving test cars on the roads, autonomous test driving cars on the road, without a backup human driver. Well, the lady that got killed, in Arizona, there was a driver, a backup in the car, and they still hit her. I don't know. Waymo, Cruise Automation, and Uber are waiting anxiously because they want to start testing their stuff without a backup driver. Well, it's cheaper that way, too, to test, but it's still, I got to tell you, it's still the hot setup, the very hot setup. Florida's going to be the first one. Apparently, they don't care if you run over people in Florida. I don't know. There should be a backup till they get the bugs out of these cars. I'm not against autonomous driving. I probably won't see it in my lifetime. Heck, I'm getting old, but my granddaughters will, and my great grandkids will, and it's here. So they got to get the bugs out first. They just do. Look for, and I know several steel mills that are working on this. I know ArcelorMittal and U.S. Steel have been working on this. Look for the next big news in trucks to be carbon fiber body panels. Really pushing it now. We talked about this, 5 years ago. You guys, gearheads and clutch busters. I brought this up. ArcelorMittal was experimenting with some carbon fiber body panels. They're a lot lighter, and they're just as strong. This material, the GM has had engineers working on this material for over 8 years, and now offers a carbon fiber bed in their GMC Sierra to evaluate the strength, reliability of the super high-tech material. And it's super light. I mean, super light. Carbon fiber is currently used in some supercars, like you see, like the Maseratis and the Lamborghinis, and The Corvette. There's carbon fiber panels in the Corvette, believe it or not. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it certainly is cool. Also at General Motors, the company has quietly discontinued its use of the 2.4 turbo four-cylinder in the Chevy Traverse. They're just leaving the 3.6 V6 as the only option. Well, if you ask me, they should have canned them both. Those two engines are the ones they're having trouble with. That 3.6, well, I tell you what, I've got a couple of boys in my shop that could retire if that's all they had to work on was the 3.6 GM. You got to watch that engine, man. And if you buy one, keep the oil changed religiously. Don't listen to what they say. They tell you to go 7,000 miles pooey, and it's full synthetic. So you want to go 4,000 miles max, maybe 5, but no more than 5, and change it religiously and use full synthetic. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble in your GM car. They want you to think that everything they sell is maintenance, low maintenance. That's not the case with that motor. It's really not. We talked about Ford coming out with the Ranger and Bronco again. Well, now all of a sudden, just quietly, Ford has trademarked the name Bronco and Bronco Scout. That's leading to speculation that there will soon indeed be a smaller baby Bronco, a compact Bronco. Well, I won't have to worry about that because I'm not going to fit in it, so I won't have to buy one of those. Matter of fact, I don't plan to buy one of those. Speaking of Bronco, a company called Zero Labs, has taken an old Bronco, removed its gas-burning motor and powertrain, and replaced it with their all-new electric powertrain that will deliver as much as 440 horsepower in that Bronco and a 190-mile range. I'm beginning to think that in today's world, in the automotive world, everything and anything is possible. My goodness, it's crazy. They're just coming up with all kinds of cool stuff. The technology changes minute to minute, not day to day or week to week. It's minute to minute. I mean, I'm on the internet all day long, and I'm working at my shop, and I cruise over to the Auto News or one of them and see what's good. And here's a new story about how this is good. This is no good no more. The crash avoidance stuff that they had, that's all going to be part of autonomous driving. So why would you put all big money into that? Your car is going to be programmed. Your vehicle, and I'm not talking about you putting it in. I'm talking about the company putting it in. Why would they spend big money on self-braking and stuff like that when all that's going to be programmed into autonomous driving? Guess what? It is.